would, please hit that thumbs up for me. It helps out with the algorithms. It helps us reach more people. And for everyone that hits the thumbs up, thank you so much. God bless you for doing so. It really does make a difference on Rumble, YouTube, no matter how you're watching this, Pilled, no matter how you're watching this, it really makes a difference when you hit the thumbs up. So let's get right into it. TDS is a real thing. You know, last night I did a short video. Sometimes I go live on TikTok, and I've been thinking about it, maybe having a stand here or something with my phone on it, and I just go live to TikTok while I'm doing the show. And, because I can't really go into it, but just, because you see some TikTok videos, like they just have the camera set up somewhere, their phone set up, and every now and then they'll go touch it, and people just tune in and watch it. So maybe somebody will find it interesting. I have set up where they can send me in the studio and stuff. What do you think, Shannon? Is this something I should do? I think I should, just to see what happens. But anyways, I'm on TikTok. And of course, on TikTok, there's a whole bunch of radical liberals. So on TikTok, they haven't blocked the radical liberals from seeing me that much because they tune in when I do a TikTok live. And they all got on there, and you can tell that they're suffering from TDS. TDS is a real thing. And and they're saying all these hateful things in the comments. Now, I can't say anything that they would disagree with out loud. So I have to say it in a roundabout way, kind of like you have to do on Facebook and even somewhat on YouTube still. And I say it in a roundabout way, but people know what I'm talking about, because yesterday I talked about how President Trump being the GOAT. I said, President Trump is the GOAT, greatest of all time. And just saying that alone triggered them. They got triggered because I said, President Trump is the greatest president this country's ever had. Am I not entitled to my opinion? You can disagree with me all day. That's perfectly fine. But I think I am entitled to my opinion. And my opinion is that President Trump, everything that he has gone through, everything that he has done, President Trump has demonstrated to Will Johnson that he is the greatest president this country's ever had. And I don't care what they say. I don't care what people say. How dare you? They were so angry with me on TikTok Live last night. They were calling me every name you can think of. Every name. But because on TikTok, if you say certain words, if you type them in there, they'll get you that way too. So they'll abbreviate it. And I know what they're saying. Right? I know what they're saying. So they good around it, which is kind of stupid if you ask me, that people have to say stuff a certain way so that the algorithms and the people, the power that be, don't block what they want to say in the content, but they're still saying it. Which is, do you understand my point? It's stupid. Allow free speech to be free speech. Allow it to happen. If they want to say it a certain way, then let them say it a certain way. But liberals, they want to come in. Nope, you can't say it that way. You cannot do that. They always want to dictate what you can and can't say. And that's the reason why it's like that, because liberals, these radical liberals, they are not for free speech. They're against free speech. They only want the speech that they deem to be okay, to be safe. But anyways, while I was on there, I was telling these radical liberals that, TDS is a real thing. And this is what you should do. For your radical liberals, this is what you should do. Go to a mirror and acknowledge TDS is real and ask yourself, what's wrong? Soon as I said that, they really got mad. I mean, they came unglued. Really got upset because I told them to go to a mirror and say, and look in the mirror and say, TDS is a real thing. And what's wrong? And they got so angry with me, just piping mad. But it's not even just the liberals on TikTok. It's these liberals on Capitol Hill. It's the liberals in the liberal media. It's the liberals wherever you go. This past weekend, and I mentioned it before, and I haven't played any of the clips here. This past weekend, I went to a anti-American Tesla protest, and they were just completely nasty. I mean, right down nasty. None of them that I curse at. I may have called them radical liberals. I may call them Democrats, but that's for them. That shouldn't be really considered an insult because they are radical and they are Democrats. But they're cursing at me, calling me all kind of names. I mean, trying to insult me. One of them, well, a couple of them, several of them actually, push me. I'll let them push me, at least once. If it's a lady, she get 2 or 3 times, maybe more than that even. But the guys, there, even some males that were there, they were even pushing me. And at the end of it, one guy pushed me, and then he told me that he was going to have his buddies come this weekend to, if I show up this weekend, and I am going, that he's going to have his buddies, and he's part of Trans Tifa, and he says he's going to have his buddies there to put me down. And I'm asking him, what does that mean? What does that mean? And I said, I've been here all day. Exercising my free speech. And he says that he's just tired of my mess. Now I'm saying it nicely here. He's just tired of me. So they get to go and protest against a business that's hiring Americans in American-based business. They get to go protest all that they want and try to shut the business down. But I can't protest against these anti-American protesters. I can't do that. I can't exercise my rights, but they can all day long. You know what? The TDS is so real that the Democrats are still trying to say that President Trump is destroying the country. And they're so bad that they're lying about everything. Yesterday, we talked about all of the lies that the Democrats have been saying. Joe Biden falling up the stairs. They're still not even acknowledging it. You know that? For the most part, they're still not acknowledging it. And then remember, when Joe Biden and the Democrats brought the illegals into the United States of America, how were they getting funded? Was it the local state funding the illegals, putting them in hotels, giving them bus rides, giving them food assistance, giving them Medicare? Who was doing that? Well, come to find out, and it was no secret. No one said it was a secret. We all knew it was happening. The Biden administration was making it where they can get money to these states to help these illegals that came into the country. That's been no secret. But now you have Hakeem Joffrey. Hakeem Joffrey sitting down in a hearing, and he's saying there's been no illegals. Of course, they don't say illegals. No immigrants, undocumented immigrants, to receive any benefits. Now, I'm paraphrasing what he said in this video, but I want y'all to listen to this. Yesterday, again, I told y'all how they lied about everything. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know that I am. But they constantly lie about everything. And listen to Hakeem Joffrey's lie again, as if you and I didn't see what they did the past 4 years. Straight up lying.
To the food.
Uh-oh.
And under current law, undocumented immigrants are already ineligible for Medicaid, the ACA exchanges, and for SNAP benefits. Not a single undocumented immigrant in this country gets a dime in federal taxpayer dollars for any part of comprehensive Medicaid coverage.
Let me stop it really quick. Now, we all know that these undocumented immigrants were getting federal funds. He's doing a play on words. They took those federal funds and then they pushed them to the states. And then they allowed the states to use those funds for the undocumented immigrants. He's doing a play on words. Everybody that saw this video knows that he's lying. They manipulated. The same thing what Joe Biden was trying to do with the student loans. When the Supreme Court came back and said that you can't pay off loans that people agreed to pay. You can't do it. What did they do? Joe Biden found other funds and took them from other organizations, and then he started using those funds to pay off student loans. He's lying. They move money from one location to another location and then try to act like the federal government had nothing to do with it. Does USAID sound familiar to anybody?
Not one. And so when we're talking about nearly 14 million people who are going to be thrown off their health insurance, millions of others who are going to be jammed up by this aggressive cut to SNAP, the largest cut to food assistance in American history. We're talking about American children. We're talking about everyday Americans. We're talking about Americans with disabilities. And when it comes to nutritional assistance, we're talking about veterans who have served this country, sacrificed, risked it all. And they're going to lose access to the food assistance they need to live a life of dignity and respect. Those are the facts. That's why we're fighting hard.
That's not the facts.
To stop this GOP tax scam.
Oh my goodness.
That will hurt everyday Americans.
This dude is straight up lying. He's lying through his rabbit teeth. He's lying. They want people to be on government assistance and turn that government assistance into a political career. This is what they want. Why do they want that turn into a political career? Because then if they get a lot of people on government assistance, they can control them. I saw this video and I actually shared it on my X page. Someone else posted it and I just reshared it, where this black female was getting $700 a month from just sitting at home, doing nothing. She riding around in the car. She gets $700, put gas in the tank, go and buy whatever she wants. She just got notified. She just got noticed that her $700, I think it was $750, $780 a month, was getting pushed down to $85 a month. She's piping mad to the point where she says that when she goes into the store, she's just going to fill up her basket and then she's just going to walk out. And she says, if anybody try to stop her, she's going to put him down. She says that this is going to happen across the country because President Trump is telling these able-bodied people that if you're getting assistance, that you got to work.
You know what? I'd like to tell a personal story. I hope you don't mind, Will. But
it's not about me, is it?
It's about SNAP, particularly. And,
it's not about me, is it?
Sure.
Huh?
It's about us. There was a very brief time where our children were in elementary school and we were in between jobs. And so we asked for some assistance. Very short period of time. So we filled out the paperwork at school for them to get free lunches, whatever, for this, what I said was a short period of time. And they got free lunches. When we got back on our feet, a few months later, I went in and I said, okay, I need you to stop. I can now afford to pay for the lunches. They would not stop it. They said, we can't stop it. And I said, but I no longer need it. I mean, it was an argument to get off of it. I was like, I can pay for it now. And I said, okay, well, can I just give you guys the money because I feel like I should pay for it now that I'm able to. They would not let me do it. This is the waste and fraud that they are talking about. Once they get that money pushed to the school or wherever, they really don't care how it's distributed. They just want to keep the money flowing and then they give it out. There's no accountability, honestly. Nobody, did a check to see if I still needed it. There was no follow-up 2-3 months later. And that's exactly the example that you're talking about, Will. People get on this stuff. They get the money forever and nobody stops it.
Yeah.
There's no accountability. There's no anything. And it's actually waste. So then people go, well, I'm getting it. I might as well keep it. It's my tax money anyway. So then they'll start justifying it. But she was getting, right?
if I remember correctly, I know it was 700 and something. I think she said like 750, could have been 780. Doesn't matter. And now she's down to $85 a month. And she says that she's going to just go into the stores and steal whatever it is that she wants. So I hate to tell you, she was a hood rat. I mean, not that I hate to tell you, she was a hood rat. It's on my X page for anyone who's connected on my X page. And just go there and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see her on my X page, and she's on there mad because she's an able-bodied person. Nothing's wrong with her. I mean, she says she can go in the store. She can walk into the store, so nothing's wrong with her. She can go to work. I don't want to pay for people sitting on the couch doing nothing. You know how I do my broadcast every single day, even when I'm sick. Shannon can tell you, my producer, she can tell you, even when I'm sick, I got excuse my language here, I have a snot bag. Okay, that's what I call it. You know, you get like a grocery bag, one of those plastic bags, and I double bag it. And I have my box of Kleenex, and I end up, blowing my nose. And a couple weeks ago, I was just sicker than a dog, and I still did it. I said, nope, got to do it because I don't mind working. I'm an able body. I don't mind working. If I can work, even though I'm sicker than a dog, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, we've always been like that. But there's a lot of people in America that are not like that.
But the thing is, here I am working, trying to make a living here. And I'm trying my hardest here. Right. And I've been doing this for some time now. And because of the big tech censorship and all of that, they really hit me hard. I mean, hit me hard. There's been times I want to come on here and just get on my knees and beg y'all for help. But there's so much going on. And, for all of you that's been watching Will Johnson for some time, you know that I don't ever like to talk about my personal life. I don't ever like to talk about woe is Will, because we all have issues, right? We all have issues. But I come on here every single day, Monday through Friday. Sometimes on Saturdays, if I do something like going to the Tesla, anti-American Tesla protest with these Democrats. But I'm constantly working. And I'm so thankful to every one of you when you do send me the Rumble rants, when you do send me the super chats, when you do send me the gold pills. You can't send me any Facebook stars because Facebook won't allow you to send me a star because of what the hackers did, not because of what I've done. They have damaged so many people. And because of who I am and because of the work that I'm doing, they don't want me to make a living. And they don't even want you supporting me. And this is the reason why they really don't want people to see my content. They don't want me to see the information I'm going to share with you. Because they don't want me to be successful. Now, illegals, they'll bring them in the country and give them $10,000 a month. Not even doing nothing, not ever paying a single dime in taxes in this country. They give them money, but here's Will Johnson trying to do it, trying to work. And they don't even want you to support me. They don't want you to see they don't want you to even see me. Talking about the lies. Now, I was kind of surprised about this one. Jake the Snake, and of course, he's making his rounds going to different media outlets, and he's trying to promote his book because he wants people to buy his book. He wants his book to be a #1 seller. That's what his goal is, to try to get his book to be a #1 seller. And he goes on with Joe Scarborough. Shannon, would you say that he's calling Joe Scarborough out on here?
He definitely is calling
him out.
He's like, oh, you were part of the problem, is basically what he's saying.
Actually calling him out. And I'm surprised. I mean, I'm surprised they hadn't shut this dude down yet. I really am. Watch.
In your specific case, Joe, our reporting indicates that Joe Biden, who, as you know, is a frequent viewer of the show, saw when David Ignatius wrote that column in, I think, August 2023, saying that Joe Biden should not run for re-election because of what he had been hearing.
Right.
And he came on this show, and you guys had a robust conversation about this. You largely agreed that you'd been hearing things about this, but that there was really no alternative, that Kamala Harris was not up to the job. That's what Democrats were telling you behind the scenes. Joe Biden saw that. Joe Biden said to staffers that he wanted to convince you that you were wrong. And he focused on you like you were a constituency, like you were farmers in Iowa, like you were the Kiwanis Club in New Hampshire. And he made sure that you thought differently. He made sure that you thought differently. I think he did this with a couple people. I think he did it with Meacham. He might have done it with Evan Osnos. He knew that there were people that had to be convinced that he was fine. And he tried to prove that to you.
And what did Joe Scarborough do? I should have got that video with Joe Scarborough, actually, where there's actually him and a whole bunch of other ones where they're saying that he's really great. He's really great.
I just want to say that this just proves that Joe Biden and politicians use the media to influence the people, because that's exactly what Joe Biden was trying to do. He was trying to convince Joe Scarborough of something, so then he will then convince his base. So when we say that the media is supposed to be unbiased, it is, but this is proof that it's not. This is 100% proof that they are very biased and they're very influenced by the people in power.
Yeah. And as long as they believe they can get away with just lying to everybody, they're going to continue doing it. The Democrat Party, and I've said this so many times now, and I'm saying it again because I'm actually happy to see it. They're actually collapsing. When you have Jake the Snake going on MSDNC from CNN, basically saying that, hey, this is your fault too. He's basically wanting them to own up to it. But Joe Scarborough's never going to come out and say that I was wrong, that this falls on me too. He's never going to do that, because then he would have to admit that he was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, Will? Right now, the Democrats, everywhere you look, I'm talking about in hearings, I'm talking about on media shows, they are very angry and they are attacking Republicans, not even just President Trump. They are attacking our Congress people. They are attacking the people, just Republicans in general. They are so angry. We look at the hearings right now. Talk about being unproductive. These Democrats, all they want to do is attack people because you support Trump. They want to attack, they want to put out their narrative. They're not being truthful. I mean, this is absolutely disgusting. I've never seen anything like this since I've been paying attention to politics. It's absolutely disgusting. They are obstructionists. That is 100% true. The whole party, not just a few, the whole party.
And it's getting worse for them. It's getting a lot worse for the Democrats. The Democrats are fighting amongst each other. They don't have a leader still. A lot of them try to come out and say, well, AOC is probably going to be the leader. And then they're like, nope. Then Jasmine Crackpot, she's probably going to be the leader. Then nope, it's not Adam Schiff because he's tainted. And it's no longer Nancy Pelosi. They don't even want Hakeem Jeffries. They don't even want Hakeem Jeffries. They don't want any of them. They don't want Jerry Nadler. They don't want Chuck Schumer. They don't even want David Hogg because they see how radical he is. They keep doubling down on how radical they are, and they keep crushing themselves. They keep crushing themselves. Let me give you an example of how radical these Democrats are. Here it is in a hearing. Now, this woman here, she was one of the Democrats that went to the ICE facility and basically causing disruption. Now, she didn't get in. I didn't see any videos of her elbowing, using her body slam, because she's an elderly woman. And of course, she was just kind of like going along with the motion, what have you. But she's on here and she's questioning the School Board of Education. Is that what she's doing here, Shannon?
Yeah, the Secretary of Education.
Yeah, the Secretary of Education. Right. And she gets to the point where she was saying that President Trump, his administration, doesn't follow the law, when her and other predominant Democrats just broke the law.
Congresswoman, there are laws on the books in Title VI that totally...
Laws don't mean anything to this administration. I'm asking you, do you realize that to send authority back to the states, to eliminate your oversight, to eliminate your accountability, to eliminate your determination as to resources going to schools that are teaching, public schools that are teaching underserved communities, this will result in the very reason that we had to get the involvement of the federal government in this issue. And that's a yes or a no. Either you believe
it isn't a yes or no, but I will not respond to any question based on the theory that this administration doesn't care anything about the law and operates outside it. So this that is a mischaracterization, and I will
reclaim my time for 5 seconds, because you can say anything you want. Your rhetoric means nothing to me. What means something to me is the actions of this administration, from the President of the United States conducting himself in a corrupt manner to his family, enriching him and himself.
Look at her. She's angry because MacGyver, is that how you say it? MacGyver? She's been charged
Right.
with criminal charges. She's been charged. And a little birdie I saw online, a little birdie flying around, said that she's possibly could get up to 8 years in prison because of the criminal charge. And she's mad along with the other Democrats because President Trump is actually upholding the law. And these Democrats for many years believe that they can break the law because they believe that they're above the law and nothing's supposed to happen to them when they break the law. Nothing. You say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, and Secretary McMahon, who she is questioning here, she's so classy. I mean, Republicans are so classy. She's like, listen, I'm not going to answer questions based on the fact that you're saying he's just a liar. That's not a fact. Saying that is not a fact. That's how you may feel. These Democrats go off of how they feel. There's no reality in it. And let's talk about the education system. Ever since it went to the federal government, our education and our children have been testing lower. What does this lady say about that? They're testing lower. They're not better. Since actually the government interfered, let's be honest, and tried to take over, it's gotten worse.
The school education in the United States of America has declined ever since the Democrats figured out how they can push this wokeism onto the kids, because they were not concentrating on teaching kids how to balance the checkbook. We've heard that so many times. They weren't trying to teach kids how to learn the states, geography, math. They went as far as saying that teaching children math is now racist. Completely stupid. And it's a true thing. Have y'all not seen it? I know you have.
Yeah, they spend a lot of money now.
Yes. And there was even one point where peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were considered to be racist.
Yeah. They spend
because I mean, come on. Talking
about
school lunches even.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, Will, just on let's review this. Let's see if peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are actually racist. And they'll spend all this money to research it.
Hey, I like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Now, this is our education system.
Yeah.
Talk about waste and fraud.
Yeah.
This is what we want to get rid of.
Yeah.
He's conducting himself in a corrupt manner to his family, enriching him and himself corruptly to determine that this administration can tell you what's right, what's wrong, what's lawful, what's not, that it can arrest judges, it can arrest lawyers, it can use its power to bully people. And I'm telling you, the Department of Education is one of the most important departments in this country. And you should feel shameful to be engaged with an administration that doesn't give a damn.
Ms. Litlow.
Wow.
And can I just say,
let me say this really quick. And then by me, don't forget what you're going to say. She's saying that this administration doesn't give a darn. Okay. She said it the other way. She said this administration doesn't care. But the Democrats don't care about America. They only care about illegal immigrants. They only care about teaching children inappropriate sexual activities. That's what they want to teach children. They're not concerned about your child learning anything. What were you going to say, Shannon?
I was going to say, talk about enriching themselves. Literally, the Democrat Party has had more Congress people on the Democrat side have enriched themselves off of being who they are than Republicans have. Let's talk about the Biden family. They didn't care about the Biden family getting enriched. They didn't even have a business.
No.
And she's talking about, I'm assuming, there's stories about Don Jr. went to like Vietnam or something like that. And I'm sitting thinking, Don Jr. and Eric Trump are still working for the Trump organization. They're still working for their dad's company. They're not involved in the government right now. They're involved with running the company. Of course they're making money. Of course. Now, if people went to, let's say, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all of a sudden want to, work with the business, with the Trump business because Trump is president. I mean, Trump can't stop that, but it's not influencing him. I mean, they were going to the hotels before he was president. They're playing golf on his golf courses before he was president.
You know,
it's same old. It's
I'm
just
glad you brought
business
that
as
up.
usual for them.
Did you know? I just learned this earlier today. I don't want to play this just yet. I just learned this earlier today that when President Trump had the president from South Africa in the Oval Office with him, did you know that the president from South Africa brought people that like to golf in hopes that they would be able to influence President Trump? Did you know that, Shannon?
Doesn't surprise me.
I mean, they literally
He didn't have a
brought
plane.
people. He literally brought people that love to golf in South Africa with them because they said, "Oh, President Trump loves to golf, so we'll bring some golfers with us to influence President Trump." I mean, it's rich. You can't make it up.
I don't think they played golf though, especially after the.
No, I'm telling you, this is what they were saying. Now, I don't know if that they played golf, but
Yeah.
they brought people that do play golf to
Yeah.
try to influence President Trump because they know President Trump loves to golf.
I mean, listen, that's the way business goes, right?
I mean, really, they
Yeah.
purposely brought him. Other than that, they wouldn't have brought him. I bet you they didn't bring him when Joe Biden was in office.
Oh, heck no.
I mean, come on. And President Trump read right through it. Now, here's Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff.
I just want to say that with that, Will, even though he brought people that wanted to play golf, Trump still blasted him in front of everybody.
He sure did.
It didn't influence
That's
Trump.
what I said. He didn't allow them to swindle him or anything. It didn't work. Now, have y'all seen this clip with Adam Pencil Neck Schiff? Oh my goodness, this is so good. Was it Zeldin? Zeldin actually calls out Pencil Neck. And you can tell Adam Schiff gets angry. Oh, it's so good.
Wait, with that wind up, by the way, I understand that you were an aspiring fiction writer. I see why.
He said you're an inspiring fiction writer, and I see why. You know what I think what he's referring to. Now I'm not going to speak for Zeldin here, but I think he's referring to when Adam Schiff was reading the transcript from Ukraine, and then come to find out Adam Schiff was lying about what was in the transcript, and Adam Schiff said, "Oh, I was just doing a parody." He was lying. It's so good. It's so good. Watch.
Wait, with that wind up, by the way, I understand that you were an aspiring fiction writer. I see why.
Oh, yeah. Well, I understand your view that you can cut half of the agency and it won't affect people's health or their water, their air. That to me is a big fiction, Mr. Zeldin.
You
and
forgot about the fact of cleaning up
I have
after
to think,
LA
Mr. Zeldin.
wildfires.
I think, Mr. Zeldin,
President when I was in San Diego,
if your children were
with the
drinking
Tijuana River
water,
sewage crisis,
if your
apparently we're
children
going
were
out on our
drinking
own for
water
that.
in Santa Ana, Mr. Zeldin, maybe you wouldn't be so cavalier about whether there was lead in their water. Maybe you would give a damn instead of coming in here and suggesting that any grant that takes lead out of the water must be waste, fraud, or abuse because
The
you
gentleman's
need
time has expired.
because you need
The whole
the
thing,
money for a
everything
tax
you
cut
said,
for rich people
your time, it's all
because
make-believe.
you're totally beholden to the oil industry.
The
You could
gentleman's time.
you could give a rat's ass about how much
It is.
cancer
Because
your agency
you're trying to
causes.
destroy.
The
Impeach,
gentleman's
resist.
time has expired.
Did you see Adam Schiff? Could you see how angry he was getting? He's getting angry for trying to push woke agenda and people are not buying it. And he wants to be able to push it. He wants to push the woke agenda. And basically, if they can get their woke agenda to push through, they know it will end up hurting the United States of America. And then they can turn around and try to blame President Trump for it. That's the whole agenda about their wokeism. I mean, really, have y'all not noticed that? Oh, I know you have. But that's what they're all about. They want to try to figure out how they can hurt President Trump. They wake up thinking, is this the day that we're going to be able to get him? They've been doing that every single day, without fail. Now, there was a clip I wanted to share with you. I'm going to go on. Let's talk about what happened in D.C. yesterday. Now, what I've noticed is that there's been a lot of people, conservatives, people, or at least they call themselves conservatives, call themselves Trump supporters. I think they are not so much Trump supporters any longer because President Trump's support for Israel. And a lot of these people that I thought, were on the up and up and not completely fell off the deep end would understand that liberalism is the problem. And I've tried to explain this multiple times. They just have this whole hatred for Jewish people, and it doesn't make any sense. Now, there are liberal Jewish people. There's conservative Jewish people. I mean, really, how do they not know this? So because of what these liberal Jewish people would do, they automatically put a blanket umbrella for everybody in Israel, just Israel, period. That's almost like me blaming every single white person for slavery when it was only Democrats, only white Democrats that wanted slavery. But how would it look for Will Johnson to go around and blame everybody white? That would be stupid on my part. And that's what's happening with some of these people that say they used to support President Trump, is what they're doing now when it comes to Jewish people. For these Jewish students, they're just, oh my goodness, Israel bad, Israel bad. God forbid Israel defend and protect themselves. We can't have that. Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. And they act like, and let me be clear, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. But what happened in D.C. yesterday is terrible. Apparently, a diplomat was shot and he lost his life. Do you think it was a Christian that did it? Do you think it was a MAGA Republican, a MAGA extremist Republican? Do you think that's who did it? I mean, come on. Who's been screaming from the river to the sea? Who's been screaming free, free Palestine? It is those radical liberals on the left, because they have a movement that they believe they can get on board with, because they no longer have the BLM movement to run around in the streets of America. They don't have that. They tried to kick it back up with a couple things, but it's just not working out because people are no longer buying it. People are no longer buying it. So now they're using Palestine, free, free Palestine, as a means to go out and be violent. That, or, if they find a Tesla, they're quick to be violent against a Tesla, or just a Trump supporter. As I mentioned to you when I went out to this anti-American Tesla protest this past weekend, one of the Trans Tifa members threatened me. And he says he's going to have his homeboys, if that's what they are, his homeboys going to show up this Saturday to take care of me. So I'm going this Saturday to see how Trans Tifa is going to try to take care of me. Because as a free man in this country, I should be able to exercise my free speech. But look at this. Here's a report from D.C. yesterday.
Overnight, shots outside the Capitol Jewish Museum near the FBI's Washington, D.C. field office, killing a young couple with plans to marry, Yaron Lashinsky and his girlfriend, Sarah Milgram. The Israeli ambassador near tears while talking about them.
The couple that was gunned down tonight in the name of Free Palestine. It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem.
The young couple gunned down at close range after leaving a celebration of young Jewish diplomats.
The suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum.
Overnight, we spoke with Katie and Yoni, who were inside the museum at the time of the shooting.
So the suspect came over to where I was, and we offered him water, and he reaches into his backpack and pulls out a keffiyeh and says, I did it. I did this for Gaza.
He wanted the cops to come in, and then he wanted to say, I did it.
And a critical piece of evidence that could point to motive, something the suspect said, suggesting an apparent obsession with the Israeli-Hamas conflict.
The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody.
So is that not going to be the same as them yelling and screaming Allah Akbar right before they do something? Would you say that's kind of like equate to that? I mean, that's the way I see it. I mean, am I wrong? What do y'all think? Y'all let me know in the chat. Did anyone else pick up on that? Because so now they say free, free Palestine, and then a violent act will take place. I'm just asking.
is the man police believe to be the suspect, hands behind his back, surrounded by police and security.
The suspect has been tentatively identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, Illinois.
A massive investigation now underway with the FBI trying to determine motive and whether there are any ties to terrorist organizations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office saying he's shocked by the horrific anti-Semitic murder.
In the streets of America, you can disagree with people all day long, and that's perfectly fine. People disagree with me all the time. I've had Republicans send me messages and they disagree with me. They disagree with me for my support with President Trump. I've had some Republicans say that to me. Will Johnson, you support Trump too much. What does that even mean? Trump is just a man. So, and then when I ask them, please explain. They don't even explain it. And of course, radical liberals say that all the time. You can disagree. It's fine. But you don't be violent. You don't push your anger violently, physically trying to harm someone because you disagree with them. But who does that? Christians don't do it. MAGA Republicans don't do it. So I'm asking y'all, who are the violent ones in the country? Can we be honest about it? Can we just be out front with it? Can we no longer have to sugarcoat it? Can we go without stepping on eggshells, not to hurt anyone's feelings about it? Can we just be honest about who are the violent ones in America? Can we just be honest about it? Because if we can't be honest about it, it's just going to continue to happen. Who are the violent ones? Anybody? Who are the violent ones? Anybody? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I'm gonna tell you right now. But I'm just kind of curious. Are you gonna say it in the chat for me? Who are the violent ones? Y'all ready for it? The radical liberals, the Democrats. They are the violent ones. Listen to Ilhan Omar as she's asked a question about what took place in D.C. yesterday. She should at least go, look, people can have their differences, but we don't condone violence. Violence is never the answer, right? She can at least even lie and say that, right? Just lie and say that. Watch.
Congresswoman Omar, can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go for now, Mark. Couldn't even say condolences for the family.
I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go for now. And again, she could have just lied. We don't condone violence. Doesn't her religion say that it's okay for them to lie to the infidel? Right? Is it even called for that? She could have just lied. We don't condone violence of any sort, but she doesn't want to be on camera saying that because they want more violence. And I still believe to this day, because of all the positive things that President Trump is doing, that these radical Democrats, they're going to end up activating their sleeper cells that they brought into the country. I think those days are pretty close. I think they're pretty close. Because the Democrats are fighting too hard to keep them here. And we're talking about people who have broken the law. Completely broken the law. And they have no issues with fighting for them. They don't fight for the American people. Not at all. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. This is on the Communist News Network. And here it is, you have Abby. And of course, the star of the show, which is actually Scott Jennings, and he has a response to this, but she's trying to act like, well, they don't have anywhere to go. Talking about the hardcore criminals that are not even American citizens. They have nowhere to go. We need to treat them with dignity as they bring fentanyl, sex trafficking of children, murdering and killing people in the United States of America, but we need to treat them with dignity. Forget about the American people that's going through everything. We need to treat them with dignity.
They were
I
convicted.
wrote it down.
Hold on a second.
Can I read it?
They were convicted. Maybe they were convicted of very serious crimes.
I'll read it.
The penalty that the Trump administration says is appropriate potentially could be death.
I mean,
right?
I'll read it. Sex
that-
offenders,
is that
homicide,
right, Scott?
kidnapping, murder in the first degree, battery, larceny, cocaine possession, murder, robbery,
Okay.
DUI, child sex
Okay,
abuse, and sex
yeah.
assault on someone with a mental
Scott.
illness. The Sudan is too good for these people.
Scott,
And
no.
I'm not sure any other country would take them.
Well, what about their home country?
I'm not sure they'll take them. Would you take that person
How
back?
do you know that?
Well, one of them came from Cuba.
No,
I have to say.
how do you know that?
I don't
Yeah,
care what we do
Vietnam.
with them.
You
These
don't
are
know.
heinous, violent criminals, and they do not need to be here. That's all I know.
So let me just play.
I don't care what you do with them. I don't care. Get them out. Bye-bye. Get them out. Why do we have them here? Is it so important that we keep these non-American citizen criminals in the United States of America? What is so important about it? Have any of them been asked that question? Have you ever seen it, Shannon? Has anyone gone to them and say, why is it so important that we keep these non-American citizen criminals here? Why is it so important to you? Because if we're talking about the safety and security of the United States of America, wouldn't it be to the best interest to go ahead and get them on their way? Wouldn't that be the best interest of America? But that's not what they want to do. That's not what they want to do at all.
No, I mean, they want to look like they're fighting for the underdog, you know? And to them, the underdog is the illegal. It's not even Americans that they're fighting for. They're fighting for illegals. And they wouldn't call them, you know, illegals. They'll call them undocumented, or they'll call them a resident of a state. But they're not going to call them illegals. But the Republican Party is taking away a demographic that they needed to survive.
Yeah.
And so they're upset, and they're
Trump
fighting
is
for that
crushing
base
everything.
again.
Did you finish? Trump is crushing everything. I mean, he's destroying everything. He's destroying the way they were funding all of this stuff, USAID and other programs. He's destroying all of it, which is a good thing. And they're even mad about this. President Trump, especially President Trump, but Tom Homan said that you're about to see a lot more. So because President Trump's administration is about to crack down even more, this is the reason why they're getting upset.
Here in the city of Angels, Fox News exclusively embedded with federal agents conducting raids targeting members of a violent transnational gang that has been working with the Mexican mafia. Matt, what did you see?
Well, Trace, we got an up-close, behind-the-scenes view of this rather dramatic citywide bust here in Los Angeles. And these are not your mom-and-pop family unit border crossers. These are hardened criminals, a part of a well-oiled crime ring who are spitting in the face of American commerce and the neighborhoods they live in.
Come to the front door.
Fox News exclusively capturing this early morning bust of an Iranian-born man living in an upscale Los Angeles area neighborhood, luxury SUVs out front.
Police, hands up, hands up.
The suspect walks out of his home shoeless, surrendering on charges of interstate theft.
Stop, stop, stop. Hands on your head.
Allegedly part of a scheme that stole $83 million in Amazon goods.
This particular individual is here on a visa. He's engaged in a tremendous amount of illegal activity.
He now faces prison and deportation if convicted. The operation netted more than a dozen members.
Let me stop it really quick. So how many Democrats are going to show up to try to get him to remain in the United States of America? How many? Are they going to get one that hasn't jumped into the spotlight as of yet? It wouldn't surprise me.
You know what?
Wouldn't that surprise me?
That's actually a good point, because if you heard him say, he said that he was here on a visa.
Yeah.
So that means, you know what they'll say? They'll say, well, he was here legally.
Yes.
They're not going to care that he was from Iran. They're not going to care that he did an $83 million scheme, stealing from people.
No, that's not the point.
He's not going to care about that.
That's not the point. He was here on a visa, and now they're deporting people who came legally. They came legally. Now he's deporting them. Just like Trump, all of a sudden he's deporting American citizens.
But they can't come here and break crimes
No.
and keep their visa.
If you come to the United States of America on a visa, green card, and you violate that visa, green card, and then you get deported. I mean, you don't get to come and just commit crimes. But again, the Democrats are okay with people committing crimes. They're okay with it, especially if you're on their side.
He now faces prison and deportation if convicted. The operation netted more than a dozen members of two rival transnational gangs.
A lot of these organizations do exploit the local communities as well as their own communities from the countries that they come from.
According to court documents, they now face charges ranging from cargo theft to kidnapping and attempted murder. Some have ties to the Mexican Sureño gang and allegedly hired a member to carry out at least one assassination. Among the arrested, suspects born in Iran, Armenia, and Azerbaijan.
So we're going after transnational criminal organizations, violating organized crime, going out into the community and getting the most dangerous folks out of here.
Homeland Security tells Fox some of the suspects are in the country on fraudulent immigration papers, seeking asylum benefits they're not entitled to. And Homeland Security and the U.S. Attorney here tell us these types of busts are easier under the Trump administration, and we're going to see more of them. A total of 13 people arrested yesterday, including a person in Florida. They didn't just make arrests, they also got cash and 14 firearms. Back to you.
Wow. So there's like a criminal ring going on. So what?
Sorry. I was going to say, sorry. I was going to say, you know, the sad thing about that video, Will?
What's that?
Is that the ICE agents have to have their faces blocked out. They have to be, and it's not just for the illegals to know who they are, but it's also for the leftist people because they're crazy. They'll actually go after American ICE members instead of caring that you're going after illegals that are committing violent crimes. I mean, they just said attempted murder. They're like, oh yeah, let's protect that person.
Yeah, well, that's what they do, and that's who they are. Let me say thank you to Filter Dog on pill.net. Thank you so much for the gold pills. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I really do. Let's change the story here before we run out of time. Leticia James. Leticia James is in more hot water, Shannon. She kept running her mouth. She should have just kept quiet. But she keeps going out there and she's lying and she's lying and she's lying. Remember when President Trump was in New York and they got President Trump and she was so happy. We got him on $500 million. That was like $480 million, whatever. And she says on appeal though, but we got him. Well, the fraudulent activity that she said that she did against President Trump, she actually did it herself. She said that President Trump falsified records so that he could get a loan. All of the loans that President Trump received from the banks were happy. No one complained about it. They got their money. They were even asking President Trump to do business with them again. But in Leticia James's case, she's saying that the bank falsified records and she didn't. And I've asked this question multiple times. Have you ever got a loan? For everyone who's ever received a loan, a car loan, a home loan, just a bank loan, a business loan, student loan, before it's all said and done, you go through everything and then you sign it. They don't add stuff later on. And if you're not a resident in a location and you're trying to do XYZ and you put it on there, there's still stipulations that you cannot do business like that. Right? And she violated it. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs on it, but they're talking about it. She looked like she's in really hot water. So I would expect two things are going to probably happen here. Maybe three. One, Governor Hochul is going to come and tell her, you got to step down because you're becoming more of a problem. Two, she just might get arrested because she doubles down. Or three, the demon crash George Soros, who apparently was funding her, They will all back her, and it just becomes the whole hoopla and becomes even bigger. But it's not really looking good for her.
James is saying, look, this is just harmless error. These mistakes occur. That's precisely the type of argument she rejected with Trump. In fact, the mistakes that she's referring to may have gotten her benefits in terms of a better mortgage rate. When it came to President Trump, there was no money lost by the victims. The banks said they wanted additional loans from Trump. So the figures that she cited in those filings didn't make any difference. No one lost any money, not a dime. And she said it didn't matter. She also said that you can't blame third parties or other people who file things because they're all filed in your name. So you are accountable. So it's once again this weird dichotomy, this contrast between how she treated the Trump case and how she wants people to treat her case.
Leticia James, you know what? She's going to get everything. She should get everything that's coming to her. She should get everything that's coming to her because of what she's done. She weaponized her position, her office against a president of the United States of America. And she did it for political reasons to try to stop Trump. That was her whole MO. Stop Trump. Did you want to share something, Shannon?
Yeah, I just want, her whole argument now, just like you said, Will, is that she's being victimized by Trump, that Trump's going after his rivals. And then you have irresponsible news companies, just like Trump was saying yesterday, ABC News is fake news. We got Reuters here. Look at their headline today. It says, Trump administration probes of Democrats Cuomo and McIver show readiness to target their rivals. How irresponsible is that? So Cuomo, if you haven't heard, is now, they've opened up an investigation against him. He is running for mayor, but they're saying that when he had testified for COVID hearings years ago, and they're saying that now they have proof that he lied in those hearings. And so they're going after him for those hearings. But it's not going after him. It's holding people accountable for things that they've done.
Yeah.
Breaking the law, just like you said, Will.
Yeah. Well, they get to break the law. So that explains why they have this campaign ad out right now showing the radical judge that's been arrested for helping an illegal escape ICE, and how they're arresting these politicians. And then they added Cuomo into that campaign ad. And he says, we're not going to allow him to stop us. We're not going to allow him to stop us. Really? I mean, you're kind of stopping yourself. You don't need anyone to help.
You thought you were above the law.
They still think that. They still think it. Hey, let me tell y'all about this awesome deal right now at mypillow.com. But the key thing here is to remember to get the best deal at mypillow.com is to use the promo code WILL. Can you remember that? Use promo code WILL to get the best deal. But look at this. Mike Lindell, American-based business, American company. He's still doing it. And now the Giza sheets. How much are the Giza sheets right now, Shannon?
So they're $70 for any size, any color, even king size. Now,
any size, any color
is $69.98. Now, these are the best sheets.
Oh my
literally goodness. That I've ever had. I mean, you get into these sheets every night. They feel crisp. They feel cool. They let you breathe. I've even given these as gifts, which is funny because you wouldn't normally give sheets as gifts, but these are such a pleasure to sleep in every single night.
Yeah, the Giza sheets are extremely soft. They're nice. And they last for a long time. I guess that's what you get from American-made businesses like mypillow.com. But again, not even just the sheets on here, but again, to get the best deal, remember to use promo code WILL. Use promo code WILL to get the best deal. Hey, can I get y'all to go to my website as well? UniteAmericaFirst.com. And if you have not signed up for that free newsletter, it's right there at the top. Click on the free newsletter, sign up to get the free newsletter. I would greatly appreciate it if you did that. And for everyone who wants to help me to continue, especially if you're watching on Facebook, I thank you. You know, the only reason why I'm still on Facebook is because of wonderful people like you that they allow to watch it. If you would, please, because they won't let you send me any stars or anything else. If you would, go to uniteamericanfirst.com/donate, and consider supporting me. You can do monthly, or you can do it one time, which is down a little bit there, one time, or my physical address, which I've kept every single envelope and letter that I have received. I've kept every single one ever since I've started doing this. So please consider going to my website, uniteamericanfirst.com, like you see it right there in the lower third, uniteamericanfirst.com/donate to support me today. All right, everybody, that is it for me. Tomorrow's Friday. I will open up the phone lines. Open up the phone lines for you tomorrow. God bless. See you tomorrow.